Hello and welcome to BNI Advantage. Today I've got Jim McCarthy in his studio and we've got Clay Morgan, the owner of BNI in the region of Tennessee, Kentucky, and Southern Indiana. We're going to be asking him today regional questions and how to get more ROI from other BNIs in your region. So let's just jump right into it. Clay, I'm going to ask you right off the bat, how do I get referrals in from another BNI?
I love this question. There's a few different ways. On a regional level, one of those is monthly. We've got regional speed networking that you can do virtually. So regardless of where you're located, if you just go to our event calendar on our website, you can register via Zoom and sign up for speed networking and meet folks outside of your chapter. Similarly, we're excited to be incorporating into our BNI offerings this year is regular cross-chapter social events in our major markets. You've got an opportunity to look on the event calendar. Again, same thing. You can just register and come to those open social events and meet face-to-face. So you've got a virtual option, you've got an in-person option. Monthly across the United States, you can meet members from around the country by registering. Again, it's on our event calendar on the regional website. Go there and get yourself registered. I don't care if it's a speed networking or it's an in-person social, it's visiting another group. It's all about being intentional, who you connect with and how you follow up with them to develop the relationship. Because the power of this bigger network, just like the trusted contacts you have in your home chapter, you can pass referrals to them through your mobile app. You can do the same thing across the state, across the country, or even across oceans, because BNI is in over 70 countries around the world. You just do that cross-chapter referral search in your mobile app, and you can pass referrals for family and friends that are located in other places by looking up those vendors that you've connected with, and folks can find you on there too. So make sure you got that member profile filled out so you're taking advantage of that whole picture of the network.
If you could get ahead of certain common mistakes that new BNI members make and kind of wave a magic wand and eliminate them, what would they be?
Gosh. Well, Jim, in your line of work, helping people create podcasts, you want to make sure that they begin, who is the niche? Who is the target audience? What benefit do you want to bring to them so that they enjoy the show and they come back, they subscribe and they listen week after week? The same's true in BNI. I'll answer your question by starting with our goal is for you to come in and love getting connected to other business leaders. As you do that and you build trust with them, you're generating so many referrals for them and you're getting so many referrals back and you're making so much money that BNI just becomes a way of life for you. And it's a big part of your overall business strategy. And you're a member for years and years. That's what we want. So with that in mind, who regularly do you want to ask for folks to introduce you to? What are the stories that you can weave into those weekly presentations, those featured presentations, so that folks are like, ding, I get it. Like, I know how to bring you up in conversation. I know what those triggers are. I can make a great introduction for you. And I'm excited to because I get it. It's up to you to make it easy for them to refer you. And so I think just keeping that in mind when you're crafting those weekly presentations, those featured presentations, and think about how can I make this really easy for my team to bring me up in conversation? That's number one. The second thing is I want to make sure that you know what does success look like for you. In the context of BNI, you're buying an annual membership. So when you come in week 1, week 2, week 3, before you get through that first month, I want you just to be able to get clear on, hey, next year, when my membership's up for renewal, I will have been successful if what? And for some people, that may be a specific amount of revenue that they've generated or a certain number of prospects that they've been referred to. It may be, that you're there also for the personal development standpoint. Maybe you really just want to get better on your networking skills and your presentation, and the business will follow. Maybe you're there because you're getting started in your profession, right? And you really want to be connected with other people that have a wealth of business experience that can pour into you and kind of mentor you and give you different perspectives. Maybe you're at the other end of the scale, and within your business and your personal development, You want to be a mentor to others. You want to have that tribe that you're doing business with, but you can share some of your experiences and your wisdom with them so that they're being more successful along their journey. What do you want from your membership so that you're driving towards that end result? And you'll know when you get there. If you need help, that way you can ask your fellow chapter leaders, you can ask your directors what we can do to help you accomplish those goals.
Clay, I was in BNI obviously for 25 years, and I oftenly joke the first 10, I just didn't get it. Here's one of the things I didn't get: referrals outside of my BNI chapter. So you're sitting there in BNI, a really good referral from me being specific in the surveillance camera industry. I would say I would like a decision maker at Cracker Barrel to get their cameras working all the time to help them use their cameras. Okay. So that commercial goes out somewhere in the network of all these other chapters. How would I go about sending that out to then try to actually help that member get a referral? Because they were so specific, it should be pretty easy. But when I was in BNI for the first 10 years, I didn't think out. So can you help on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a few opportunities there. And we'll just begin with kind of the scope of our network here regionally, and to your point, Ryan, I mean, we've got over 2,200 members here across the region. And so that's not only a lot of folks that can advocate for your business, but those are a lot of folks that know a lot of folks. And, when you start to extrapolate out and do that math, and like you going back to your Cracker Barrel example, especially in Tennessee, with that big one of the largest companies here, especially in Middle Tennessee, you know that somebody through work, through vendor relationships, through their neighbors, they do have those connections there. So one way that you might be able to reverse engineer that, I'm going to go outside the BNI network for a second, and I'm going to go to LinkedIn, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing an advanced search for connections at Cracker Barrel. And you can get as specific as the specific role, right? The specific title that somebody may have there, and then start to look for who are your second degree connections that have connections at Cracker Barrel. And as long as you go ahead and proactively on LinkedIn, you connect with all the members of your group, and then that way it's going to be able to aggregate all those connections. And it's like a cheat sheet. That's going to be one way that I think, you can really tap into the broader network and be able to get those cross-chapter referrals that you're looking for. Another opportunity that I want to mention here as well, and in fairness to you, Ryan, this wasn't around 10 years ago. This is a relatively new addition to our arsenal of tools. But within Facebook, we actually have a group in our respective markets of our franchises. We have a few different Facebook groups where you can jump in there and ask for that specific referral or connection that you're looking for. We've got hundreds of members that are in these different Facebook groups that are also out there actively have the same kind of wants that you do. And that's another way you can quickly expand into the BNI network, but outside of your chapter.
Yeah, think about the giver's gain and how that would come across. A member sits there and listens to a commercial, no one gives them one, and then you go on LinkedIn or you reach out to BNI in this region and you get them a referral. Would that person who received that referral not think you're incredible? Would they think, hey, I got to get this guy a
Heck
referral?
yeah. I would encourage anyone looking to tap into referral opportunities or connection opportunities through BNI outside of their group is have a one-to-one with the director who works with your chapter. Those folks are networking within BNI at a regional level, and they're there to help you be more successful. They want to make those cross-chapter introductions as well. So just a plug, please do one-to-one with the director working with your group. And especially in this context, looking for cross-chapter connections, I mean, they're out there working the network every week, every month, and would love to help you find that right introduction. Your meeting every week, it needs to be warm. It needs to be fun. It needs to be inviting, and a meeting that when you look back on your week, you're like, gosh, this was one of the best meetings of my week. And it's up to each one of us to bring the best version of ourselves to make that happen. actively listening and taking notes during the weekly presentations. Just make your chapter meeting the best meeting it can be in whatever role you can do that. And all of a sudden, you start to generate momentum. I'm going to use the A word, accountability. Ooh, right? By the way, just so you know that accountability is not something that you do to somebody. It's something that you do for somebody. Look strategically at what seats do your members need to have added around them.
Mm,
In any business, because your chapter is a business,
mm.
right? You are building a marketing division of your company to help you grow your company. And, for any small business owner, you don't just go hiring people without a role in mind, right? You're going to prioritize what does your business need, and you're going to bring that talent in. Your chapter ought to be the same way. You're going to organically get through connections or people that hear about BNI, they come visit. You'll get some folks who just join the chapter because they heard about it, they came, they liked what they saw, and they want to grow their business with you. But strategically, I think your chapter really gets stronger as they share with the membership committee, as they share with other people that are in complementary professions in their contact sphere, and say, let's pick the one or the two professions that we most want to add, but because we know we can regularly feed them business. I've got a need to refer that business out to help my clients, to help my family, my friends, and I know that's going to make me look good. And then because I'm feeding them, they're going to feed me. Who is that one or those two professions based on what you do that we've got to get in the room? If you've got 10, 11, 12 referrals on a regular basis, we could send to an electrician. We need an electrician in here. When you come at it from that value standpoint, good things happen.
Gotcha. Last two questions. Mine is, how do you represent yourself and represent your chapter when you're communicating or visiting or sending referrals to other chapters? What's the etiquette? What's the right way to do it?
Awesome. So that's a two-part question because I think it's a little bit different when you're going to another chapter versus passing a referral. So I'll start with what I think most people want, which is the referral, right? When I'm getting ready to pass that referral, what's the best way to tee it up? And look, it's got to be genuine. I mean, that's the first thing. It has to come from the place of how deep the relationship is. And the more, obviously, the better. That's the beauty of BNI. The better you get to know somebody, the more that you can speak to their expertise or about their interests, their family, all those little things, it becomes easier and easier to brag on them and tee up a referral. It's somebody that's more of a business relationship. You want to be able to tell them, hey, I've got the perfect person to help you with problem X. So much so, especially, it's got to be genuine, but if you have experience working with them, or if you've heard other testimonials from your members, share that story and say, this is somebody that I meet with to build my business on a regular basis. I trust them. I know that you'll be in good hands. You're vouching for that other person and making them look good. So the more of those little snippets you can pull in there, the more trust that's going to be transferred through the introduction. On the other end, being able to visit other chapters, making connections and looking for cross-chapter referrals, I think always, especially if you're doing it in person, if you're going to visit another chapter, whether it's in person or it's online, let the chapter leaders, the president, the vice president, secretary, treasurer know as you're visiting or the visitor host, hey, I'm a member of this other group, right? Let them know when you're coming in. Similarly, if there is another member who represents the same specialty that you're in your line of work, let them know before you come and kind of, hey, I mean you no harm, actually, I'm here to pass this referral to somebody else. They're going to be like, that was really cool because you've proven an effective communicator, you respect their space, and you're adding value to somebody else in their network.
We got Jim on the final question.
What industries tend to thrive in BNI, and what industries are you surprised to thrive in?
My gosh. Well, I would say the industries that do the best in BNI are the ones that truly rely on relationships, referrals, and word of mouth for the bulk of their business. Those kinds of industries, I think, stay the same over time, tend to be within the home services space and the financial services space, specifically financial advisors, CPAs, insurance agents, mortgage, realtor. I could go on through a few others, but I think that those are kind of the bread and butter over the 22 years that I've been a director in BNI. Those seats and the ones around them tend to be the most consistent in every group. Now, there also are some professions that I think you go from having maybe none of them or just a couple to all of a sudden they're everywhere. And a couple of examples of those that I've seen lately, one would be power washing. Power washing, whether it's commercial businesses or it's homes, that's one that the past few years I've seen really take off and become a really big one. Another one that I would say has been a very hot seat the last several years has been roofers. I don't think we have a single chapter without a roofer. That industry itself, I think, has gone through some changes and a lot of growth. Also, mobile dog groomers is a big one that you see as well. So those are just a few that I think are a little less common or that have been more surprising to me in terms of their popularity.
Wow. Well, thank you, Jim. And thank you, Clay, our regional owner. You're on BNI Advantage, and we hope to see you soon. Please subscribe. It helps us all.